What if negative thoughts don't actually control you until you agree with them? It's not the thought that does the damage. It's the moment, sometimes just a split second, where something inside you hears it and says, yeah, that sounds about right. You didn't choose to agree. It happened so fast you didn't even notice. But by the time you did notice, the thought had already settled in and started making itself at home. You've tried to fight it. You've told yourself to think positive. You've prayed against it, declared truth over it, written it down and crossed it out. And for a moment, the thought gets quieter. Then it comes back. Same words, same voice, same timing. And somehow it sounds even more convincing the second time around. Here's what's actually happening. Negative thoughts don't control your life by being loud. They control your life by being agreed with, slowly, repeatedly, so many times that the agreement stops feeling like a choice and starts feeling like just the way things are. You don't even argue anymore. You just nod along, and a thought you keep nodding to eventually becomes a belief you live by without questioning it. This isn't a thinking problem. It's an agreement problem. The thought got in because somewhere, at some point, you let it pass the door. And the only way to stop it from running your life is to start catching it at the door before it gets comfortable inside. Paul writes in 2 Corinthians 10:5, and this is one of the most practical lines in the whole Bible. Take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. Every thought, not just the big dark ones, every one, captive, like you're stopping it at the gate, looking it in the eye and deciding whether it gets through. Paul isn't saying don't have negative thoughts. He's saying don't let them walk in unchecked, because a thought you examine is far less powerful than a thought you just absorb. Paul knew what it was like to have thoughts that wanted to take over. Before his conversion, his thoughts told him that destroying the church was righteous work. He didn't just think it, he agreed with it so deeply that he built his entire life around it. Then God stopped him on the road to Damascus and everything changed. But notice, the change didn't start with a new feeling. It started with a question. Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? God didn't rebuke the behavior first. He challenged the thought underneath it. He made Paul look at what he had been agreeing with. Picture Paul after that moment, sitting in Damascus, blind, 3 days without food or water, alone with every thought he'd ever built his identity on. Every one of those thoughts now had to be examined, held up to the light, agreed with or rejected. That process was brutal. It took years, but it started with one moment of refusing to let a thought go unexamined. And that single shift changed everything that came after. She had been telling herself the same thing for 2 years. You're too much. People only tolerate you. They don't actually want you around. She didn't know where it started. It felt true the way gravity feels true, just the way things are. She had prayed about it, journaled about it, had friends tell her it wasn't true. She believed them for about a day. Then the thought came back and she nodded along again without even realizing she had. One evening, exhausted and alone, she read 2 Corinthians 10:5, not looking for help, just reading because she had nothing else to do. The word captive stopped her. She had never thought of it that way, not pushing the thought away, stopping it and looking at it. She asked herself out loud, is this actually true, or have I just agreed with it so many times it feels true? She couldn't answer that night, but it was the first time she had ever stopped the thought at the door instead of just letting it walk in. That was the beginning of something shifting. The outcome isn't the point. The point is she stopped nodding and started questioning. And that one change broke the automatic agreement she didn't even know she was making. Think of it like a security guard at a door. Right now, the negative thoughts are walking in like they own the place. No check, no pause, no question. What you need isn't a louder argument against them. You need someone standing at the door asking, can I see your credentials? Is this actually true? You are that security guard. And the moment you start asking the question, even once, the thought loses the power that came from going unchallenged. So here's the one thing. The next time a negative thought arrives, before you argue with it, before you try to replace it, just stop and ask it one question out loud. Is this actually true, or have I just believed it for a long time? That's it. You don't have to answer perfectly. You just have to stop letting it walk in without being questioned. That pause is where the control starts to shift. And when the thoughts come back, because they will, come back to this video. Watch it again. You don't need something new. You just need to be reminded of what's already true. If this hit home, drop a comment right now. Tell me the one thing you're taking with you. That's your commitment. Make it real. If this helped, hit like. It helps more people find this. And subscribe for more every week. Paul didn't just think differently. He stopped every thought at the gate, examined it, challenged it, and only let through what was actually true.